On today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn TuneUp. Basically, the reason why I came up with the LinkedIn TuneUp is for a lot of you that know and have worked with me in the past, or spoke with me in the past, know that my core offering is a high ticket coaching program called the Relevant Recruiter, and we see basically what we do in the Relevant Recruiter program is help recruiting agencies implement a lead generation system that keeps a packed calendar of both clients and candidates that doesn't require as much of their effort. We're not constantly relying on making hundreds of cold calls. We're really focused on leveraging technology and automation, branding to attract our ideal clients and candidates. And so not everybody is in the space where they can join in on the Relevant Recruiter program. One of the elements of the Relevant Recruiter program, actually a couple of the elements that we teach in the Relevant Recruiter program, our first is foremost is standing out in the marketplace. Really, how do you differentiate yourself from the next recruiter? The other one is the LinkedIn lead machine. Then we have the content conversion system, and then we have multi-channel scaling. Over the years of helping people, implement this and talking to, thousands of recruiters, I've realized that some of you may not want to hear this, but 99% of recruiters really don't leverage LinkedIn to its maximum power. And when I'm saying that, I'm not talking about investing into LinkedIn Recruiter or things like that. I'm just talking about your standard LinkedIn profile. There's a lot of opportunity. And, that's what the whole LinkedIn TuneUp is for, is it allows me to actually go and serve more of the market and add value right away. So one of the things that I've really been resistant about with my own business is I just don't believe in having products that I can sell. I believe in having products that actually make an impact. And that's where this LinkedIn TuneUp offer has proven to be really, really valuable. So as I go through this here, I'm just going to kind of talk through the offer, what it includes, why you would need it. And so, I think just starting with some of the common mistakes that I see recruiters make with their profiles, the first and foremost is most recruiters use their profile as a resume. Unless you're actively looking for a job, your profile should not be a resume. Your profile, actually, I would invite you, is a place where you want to be able to share your value to your ideal clients and candidates, and ultimately turn it into like a landing page, a sales page, if you will, that speaks directly to your target audience. So that's the big overall fundamental mistake, is that being a resume is not going to do anything for your business. Turning it into a place where you're sharing your value and where you can communicate what you do to your clients and candidates is where it's at. Now, the next thing that happens is there's a lot of real estate, a lot of digital real estate on LinkedIn. And again, most recruiters that I see aren't really taking advantage of all the areas within your profile that you can communicate your value to your audience. Okay. So that's the other thing too, is just looking at leveraging the entire LinkedIn real estate. Okay. And then a lot of that also, the other mistakes that kind of come up is there's not a lot of clarity in who people serve in their market. And so what happens as a result of this, right? So how might this be showing up in your business right now? Well, maybe you're using LinkedIn right now and you're doing a lot of outreach, but you're not getting the responses that you want from really the top talent, or the hiring decision makers that you're truly into speaking with, right? That's one of the ways that this shows up right away. If you're buying into the story that, oh, my clients and candidates aren't on LinkedIn, or they're not responding to me on LinkedIn, that's because your profile's off. Okay. That's because your messaging approach is off. We're winning on LinkedIn every single day. People that are in my program and people that I'm giving these tune-ups to are finding ways to win on LinkedIn. Okay. So lack of responses is a big one. If you feel like you're just stuck in a part of the noise, then that's a sign that your LinkedIn profile isn't fully dialed in. If you feel like you're not getting engagement, if you've gone down the path of creating content, but you're not seeing the ultimate impact of content, which is driving and increasing your revenue, it's probably just because you're lost in the noise, and you're not dialed in with your profile. And ultimately, I think the thing is a lot of people aren't really looking at LinkedIn as being one of their number one assets. And for most recruiters, this isn't ring true. It's not a blanket statement, but for most recruiters, the best place to start conversations with both clients and candidates is actually on LinkedIn. We know we can target the people. We know that we can target the clients. We can target the candidates. The challenge is how do we get them to engage, right? So what we do in the LinkedIn tune-up is we're going to actually, first and foremost, we give you a complete comprehensive review of your LinkedIn profile. So usually some of the things that are showing up is we're looking at your LinkedIn cover photo. We're looking at your LinkedIn headline, and then we look at your LinkedIn about section. Those are the three key areas from your LinkedIn that we're really going to, look at dialing in. And we're also going to kind of, review your work history, your recommendations, if you're doing creator mode, your content, or your featured section. But you really want to look at this as an asset that you want to completely leverage. And again, maximizing all of that real estate. So those areas that I talked about are some of your premium real estate areas on LinkedIn: my cover photo, my title, and my about section. Okay. So commonly what you see in somebody's title will just say, Donnie Gupton, and underneath their title will just say executive recruiter. Huge mistake. You're missing such an opportunity to communicate directly to your audience. Like, how can you help these people, right? The other thing is, like, people will have a cover photo, they either won't have one, or their cover photo won't even be relevant to who they're trying to speak to, right? So, hey, I've seen people that are in technology space, and then their cover photo is a picture of a doctor's office, or it's a picture of a city. It's like all of these things should start to really kind of share with your audience who you are and the value of the table. And then the link section is just this nice list of skills and all these specialties and all this stuff, rather than talking to your ideal market and talking about, the pains and problems that you solve to them, and sharing in detail the value that your solution brings to the table, and even sharing some of your success stories in your LinkedIn about section. Now, that's how you can really, just for my LinkedIn about section, I have people download my resources. People get to understand who they are. They can book a call for me right there. You can schedule your LinkedIn tune-up for my page. I've got a video on my welcome video so that you can get to know who I am. This is how the game is won. Okay. So that's the first thing that we evaluate is just the overall profile. Is your profile speaking to your exact direct audience? Okay. The next thing that we look at doing is, well, how are you actually messaging people? How are you trying to engage on LinkedIn? And what I've found over the years, the best way I can describe this is the number one mistake that people do on LinkedIn is they bring their offline approach and bring it online. And so they take their cold calling script and go try to pitch it to somebody on LinkedIn, and they don't get any deaf ears, and they go, well, LinkedIn doesn't work. Well, it's because people on LinkedIn don't want to be sold. People are fine with networking. They're fine with being in dialogue. In fact, most people actually want to utilize the platform when it makes sense for them. But like, let's be honest. Do you like when people connect with you and the first message you get from them is like your sales pitch on how they can help you? This is where most people's efforts are just dying right away. You're not even giving your audience a chance to know you or even be interested in you. It's like, if they're not in the market, completely uninterested in your message. So finding ways to, really dialogue and get people to engage with you is really where it's at. It's not trying to sell people. It's not trying to put together this magical messaging that somebody's going to go, oh, this is the best recruiting agency ever. It's like, no, cringe. Stop trying to sell me here, John. I've got 15 of these messages already today. So that's the next thing we really evaluate is we help you, identify tweaks and bottlenecks in your messaging so that we can turn that around and increase your response rates. Hey, if all this tune-up ever did for you was simply just pick up response rates by 5%, that could be thousands of dollars for some of you guys, right? The other thing that we really look at is, what is your content strategy? And some people have taken a pretty, some stabs at content. Some recruiters haven't taken any stabs at content. And some recruiters are taking a lot of stabs at content, but they're not seeing the results from it. So we're going to give a complete comprehensive analysis of what your content strategy is. And one of the things that we do with our content strategy is we really recommend 3 pillars to being clear on. It's not about just posting to post on LinkedIn. That doesn't capture the attention of your audience. That doesn't, position you to be an authority in the market. It's not about regurgitating the same shit that you see on LinkedIn every day either. One of the things about a brand, or a personal brand specifically, that actually gets you to stand out is your personal thoughts. And so, when we're looking at content and content pillars, the first thing we always focus on is leadership, right? How do you lead your market right now? Like, what are the things that you can be doing to, plant a flag in the ground and say, hey, follow me, we're going this way. What are the market trends that you have in your industry? What are the mistakes that you see candidates making? What are the mistakes that you see, clients making? And how can you start to be the one that provides that information and shares that with them? The next pillar that we focus on is value. And value and leadership are similar, but leadership is going to be a little bit more of a direct punch in the face, where value is going to be more educational and value. This is where you kind of have your tips, your tricks, your how-tos, your how-Is, your busting myths and things like that, ultimately position you being a value-added resource in your marketplace. And then the other thing is really looking at connection. And this is the one that most people forget about. It's like, how can I connect with my audience? There's so much noise in the marketplace, and especially with the rise of Chat GPT, which you should use, but the challenge is like authenticity is going to be really the big differentiator for people as we continue to move forward with the rise of all this chat stuff, right? With all this AI stuff, which again, it should be a part of your game plan. But the big element that's going to lack is the element of human connection. And one of the things, if you were to look at my post from yesterday, as dumb as it was, it just allows for a different way for my audience to connect with me. We don't always have to be adding value. We don't always need to be, leading people. We can just simply show up and connect with our audience, because that's what makes you human. And that's what people don't want to interact with big brands anymore. They want to interact with humans, right? And what makes people more, approachable is being authentic, right? That's how you get people to reach out to you. I mean, it's one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get when people, reach out to me, is like, man, you really seem like somebody that's approachable and authentic, right? So that's what we do in the LinkedIn TuneUp, is we review your profile, we review your messaging strategy, we review your content strategy. So it doesn't matter if you've been using LinkedIn for 1 month or 10 years, because I've helped people in both categories. It doesn't matter if LinkedIn's been a main resource or a part of a resource. It's been your main asset or just a asset. This TuneUp will drive value for you. It'll give you complete clarity on tweaks that you can make and improvements that you can make to generate qualified leads. That's the whole point of this TuneUp, is to give you the tools to generate and improve your lead quality on LinkedIn. So what happens is I'll drop my link, the link below to sign up for the TuneUp. You can go to relevantrecruiter.com to sign up for the TuneUp. You're going to fill out a form. You're going to share with me your profile, your goals, your messaging scripts, your content, and then I'm going to give you a complete personalized 15-minute video on the exact tweaks that you can make, so that you know very clearly the action that you can have. You're also going to get an idea of what it's like to work with me and the value that I can bring to the table for you and your team. So this is $97. It's the biggest no-brainer offer to actually get some tangible value that can move your agency forward. So sign up right now. $97, 15-minute personalized video with all the things that you can do to dial in your LinkedIn. Had a lady that joined the TuneUp a couple weeks ago. She's implemented 2 things right away, and immediately she's increased her response rates from her candidate outreach. I had another guy that was so impressed with the TuneUp. There was so much value packed in the 15 minutes. When I originally asked on my form, I say, hey, can I ask you for a testimonial? He clicked no. He responded after that and said, I'll absolutely give you a testimonial. There's so much incredible value in here. So look, it's kind of a no-brainer to invest $97 into something that can completely change and turn into thousands of dollars of revenue for your business. So if you've been on the fence with working with me for a while, this is the greatest, easiest way for us to be able to do this. So again, go to relevantrecruiter.com and sign up for your LinkedIn TuneUp, and I'll deliver that to you within usually about 5 to 7 business days after I review your profile, review your messaging, review your content strategy, and give you something tangible and juicy that you can utilize moving forward. So thank you guys. I appreciate you being here with me on another live. I'll be back next Wednesday. Got my new stand desk here, so I'm pretty excited about this. My first live standing. Kind of weird, kind of walking all over the place, trying to get myself comfortable. But if you guys found a value in just this little training going over my offer, I'd appreciate a comment, a like. Thank you guys for being a part of my world. Go to relevantrecruiter.com, sign up for your LinkedIn TuneUp now. It's the biggest no-brainer I've ever dropped. See you soon.